Welcome, 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 Pokemon fans. My name is Matt, aka Raph of the Geriatric Mutant Ninja Turtles, and this is my very first YouTube video. I'm actually going to be playing through Pokémon Red, the very first Pokemon game I ever played back when it was released back in 1998. That's right, I am very old. I'm also going to be playing this game through Pokémon Stadium for the N64 on the legendary Game Boy Tower, where this game will be brought to you in full color. So back when the games were actually first released as Red and Green in Japan, they could still be played on the original Game Boy and then were later repurposed as Red and Blue for the United States and the international release as one of the first games for the new Game Boy Color that was coming out. Red was obviously displayed in red, and blue was seen in blue color, which you'll be able to see here on the title screen as soon as this comes out. Yep, you can kind of see where they had the red hues here for Pokemon Red. And then the games would actually not be more color-coded until Pokemon Yellow's release in 1999. But thanks to Pokemon Stadium, we get to watch Pokemon Red played out with full nostalgic glory in beautiful color. As for why Game Freak decided to release the games internationally as Red and Blue instead of Red and Green, I think it's because Red and Blue actually contrast each other better as polar opposites, whereas Red and Green mostly just screams Christmas. Plus, here in the United States, Red and Blue actually have a lot more aggression towards each other, especially in recent years. But enough of what you can actually find on the internet. Let's get ready to play the game. Alright, I'm actually going to go ahead and name myself Red, since we're playing Pokemon Red. And then I'm going to name my rival Blue for the same reason. Although, I always thought Professor Oak had early onset dementia if he couldn't even remember his own grandson's name. The good old days of playing Super Nintendo. And for those of you who did not grow up in the 80s or 90s, oh boy, did you miss out on some fun times. Video games were starting to become all the rage back then, people had fun going out, and we actually played outside and didn't have to be home until dark. Back then, cell phones didn't exist, so parents didn't know anywhere where their kids went. And speaking of which, okay, Mom, what TV program were you watching to get that idea? Wait, Stand By Me? Really? That's your logic? 4 kids leaving home to go find a dead body on the railroad tracks? Okay, well, whatever. Alright, so I guess I'll go head over to Professor Oaks' lab. Well, then why the hell did he ask me to come over here if he's not even going to be here? Screw it. I'll just leave. Wait a minute, if you only have 3 Pokemon left, what the hell happened to all the other ones? Did you release them into the wild or did they all just die? Again, swinging back to that concern about dementia rolling around here. As you can see, the color for the Pokemon here is actually much better, and I love playing this game on here on the N64. It's just pure nostalgia for me. Also, since I'm playing Pokemon Red, I'm going to be starting with Charmander. Not only because its evolved form Charizard is the Pokemon displayed on the game box and cartridge for Red, but also because Charizard is my absolute favorite Pokemon of all time. And yes, that includes every Pokemon that has come out since the game's original conception, which about around this time is probably close to 1,000, if not more. I'm actually curious to know who your favorite Pokemon is. Let me know by leaving a comment in the comment section below. I just like to, know those things. Something else I always liked about playing these games is that none of the starter Pokemon have an overall advantage against the others, at least not for this first battle. But in addition to the rock, paper, scissors aspect of the game, where grass beats water, water beats fire, and fire beats grass, each of the three starters actually have their own stat advantage. Bulbasaur has higher defense than Charmander and Squirtle, Squirtle has faster speed than Charmander and Bulbasaur, and Charmander actually has higher attack power than Bulbasaur and Squirtle, with it being the trainer's responsibility to raise and improve each Pokemon's stats through battling and certain items that can be obtained during the game. But yeah, luckily for this first battle, all the only attacks known are Tackle or Scratch, which really helps because if Squirtle knew some sort of water attack, he'd beat my Charmander in about 3 seconds. Okay, apparently my mom is a witch since she was able to heal my Pokemon so quickly. Also, did she use her magic to make my dad disappear? Because we never see or hear about him in the game. Or is Professor Oak secretly my dad? Actually, if that's the case, that would help to explain a lot of the stuff that happens in this universe. Alright, so now we're heading over to the next town. Alright, I'm also pretty sure that in the original Japanese version, this guy is actually passed out drunk and not asleep. Well, But either way, I can't get past them right now. There's some other stuff I have to do in the game first. Also, you'll notice that I'm talking to a lot of people here. Usually in the game, it's kind of a waste, but there are some people that you talk to who will give you certain items that you can't get anywhere else, or even a Pokemon or two that you can't get anywhere. So it's just always a good idea to talk to everybody, even though in hindsight it kind of seems like a little bit of a waste of time. It's doing better than that Bulbasaur that you're leaving trapped in its Pokeball on your desk. Good thing PETA doesn't exist in these games. Actually, I wonder if PETA has ever actually complained about these games in real life, considering that every Pokemon trainer is essentially Michael Vick and forcing these creatures to fight each other. Who cares? Fuck PETA. These games are fun. Okay, filling the Pokedex is Professor Oak's dream. Wait until he checks out Bulbapedia. His mind's probably going to explode with all the information in there, especially considering that it's going to have an additional 800 to 900 Pokemon that don't even exist yet in this game. Alright, now it's time to head back over to Viridian City, get some Pokeballs, and then we can start catching Pokemon. I think 15 should be good enough for now. Alright, so there's actually 2 Pokemon that I can catch here, Pidgey and Rattata. So we'll go ahead and get them added to our team. And I also don't nickname my Pokemon, just because I don't like doing that. Although I guess if I ever do a Pokemon Nuzlocke, then I'll go ahead and I'll nickname them. But for right now, for this playthrough, I'm just keeping them with their original names. Alright, so now we're gonna heal up and then go catch a couple others. And then this is actually where you can go to trade or battle Pokemon with someone else who has another Pokemon game, preferably blue or yellow, in order to trade Pokemon that you either can't catch in Pokemon Red or that you'll need to evolve for Pokemon in this game. So, but we'll get to that later on when we get to it. We're still quite a ways away from that. Alright, and now over here, there are 3 Pokemon that we can catch, a male and female Nidoran, and then also a Spearow. And then something I'm just remembering now while playing this is that in the Generation 1 games, with the exception of the male and female Nidoran, none of the Pokemon have the gender symbol next to their names, so you don't know if they're male or female. That's something that would get changed once Generation 2 started with Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Silver. But it's just kind of something, again, to kind of point out about these early first generation games. So... Alright, now we got a male Nidoran to battle and catch. Awesome. Now the only one that's left to catch is Spearow. Alright, here we go. Finally found a Spearow. And is it just me, or does it look like Robert De Niro if he were a Pokemon? He's just kind of got that death stare look, like he wants to kill me. I don't know. Maybe that's just my impression of it, but I do love these old sprite designs that they had for the Generation 1 games. They just look a little bit more sinister and everything, which I think is awesome. I mean, they got more animated in the newer versions, and starting with Gold and Silver, but these old Generation 1 sprites just look so much, I don't know, just so much cooler in my opinion. So kind of look a little bit darker, which I like. Alright, so now that we've filled out our Pokemon team, we've gotten all the ones that we can get here. We're gonna go heal ourselves, and then the next place we are going to go is Viridian Forest to catch more Pokemon. Alright, so then as we heal it, that is actually gonna do it for this first video. I hope that you guys enjoy. Again, leave a like and comments. It'll definitely help the channel. And we will see you guys next time.